Today is obviously a review, and you know the movie based on the title, so insert funny intro here, insert a dash of sarcasm here, and let's begin the review. Life of the Party is a 2018 American comedy film directed by Ben Falcone and written by Falcone and Melissa McCarthy. The film follows a newly divorced mother who returns to college to complete her degree and ends up bonding with her daughter's friends. I'm going to start this off by getting personal. I've heard a lot of people say this film was the worst movie of the year, that it was completely unrealistic because what person's friends at college would end up being buddies with their mom, and what guy that age would want someone twice his age. Those are some bold statements. When I call something unrealistic, I don't refer to my own scope of realism, but I try to think, can I picture this happening ever? And if I can't, I call it unrealistic. A lot of this movie is realistic to me. Growing up, everyone around me was 20 to 40 years older than me. I never was around people my own age, and my brother and sister had hundreds of friends, and every time they had a party, the house would be swarming with people, and it didn't matter the year. Every single party, there would be a group of my brother and sister's friends gathered around my mom, sitting with her, smoking and drinking, and loving being around her, this woman twice their age. She was fun, she got along with everyone, and she was always there to listen to them and give them advice, much like what Melissa McCarthy's character does for her daughter's friends in this movie. 20 years later, those same friends will still go and sit with my mom and talk to her at parties. They absolutely adore her. As for a guy that young being all hot and bothered for a woman of that age is so unrealistic, no it's not. How do I know? Because when my father married my mother, he was 23 and she was 40. He was into her because she was a mature woman with a stable life. He didn't care that she had teenagers, and she liked him because he was fun and mature for his age. So all of this is not unrealistic to me because that shit was my life. Now onto the review itself. Was this a perfect movie? Absolutely not, but I sure enjoyed the hell out of it. For me, the cons I had towards this film were 1, I felt a lot of the setup for the jokes went on a little long, and 2, when the joke was told, there was too much explaining of the joke going on afterwards, which kills the humor of the joke. I noticed this the most during the start of the movie, but I felt that as the movie went on, it slowly eased off, which I appreciated. I do think some of the jokes dragged on a bit, such as the bit where McCarthy's character is sweating like crazy and her knees are giving out. That scene went on for a really long time, and it got to a point where you're just going, okay, we get it, can we move on now? But it never moved on. I didn't feel these moments occurred too often, so it didn't ruin my overall enjoyment of the movie. Regarding McCarthy's ex in the movie, I felt his character and his new partner were written quite poorly. They weren't written to make sense, they were just written to create reasons to write McCarthy's character to do what she did, and that did kind of annoy me. Both characters were stupid. I especially hated the wedding scene. Who makes their wedding about trashing their new partner's ex? That is an absolute waste of time and money. Instead of celebrating each other and making it about you, you've made it about someone who isn't even there. Again, this is why I say cause and effect, because this makes no sense and is only there to give a reason for Deanna to do some crazy shit. I do feel the very start of the movie was rushed. It felt like everything just happened in a split second so we could hurry up and move on to the Deanna being in college. I did laugh a lot during this movie. I personally enjoyed a lot of the humor. I did find a lot of the moments relatable, so I was able to get a kick out of it. I love Deanna, and I love that she's someone who spent years of her life doing for other people, and as soon as she gets screwed over, decides to see it as a blessing in disguise and make the most of it, turning it as an opportunity to do all the things her husband stopped her from doing. A lot of older people think they're too old to go back to college, and to see this character who does and is so excited and is truly focused on studies and excelling in her classes, I thought was beautiful and sent a great message that you're never too old to try to put yourself out there. At the start of the movie, I thought Deanna was going to be one of those mothers who can't cut the cord and is overly motherly in a smothering way to her child, but she wasn't. She was very normal, just giving love and encouragement before sending her girl on her way, which was beautiful. And even during the events of the movie, she was never inserting herself into her daughter's life. Her daughter, yes, had the initial response to keep her mother out of her school life, but that's a logical response. College is about being independent from your parents. Now suddenly one of your your parents is at school with you, but I love that she quickly becomes her mom's cheerleader. She saw what her mom gave up for her and that now it's her turn to be there for her mom, which is her getting the chance to be the adult, and I think that was great. She sees her mother isn't forcing herself on her, that people just love her because of how supportive and kind she is, and they gravitate to that, and it makes her appreciate her mom more. It's really nice to see women being supportive and helping each other instead of tearing each other down. There are some nasty little pieces in there, but even they kind of realize that their behavior isn't cool and maybe they need to grow up, so that's great. I love Deanna's parents. Even though they're grandparents now, they still love and support their daughter. No matter how old she gets, she's still their little girl, and her dad is so overprotective. I love him wanting to shoot her husband for cheating on her and then basically threatening any man that goes near her. That's a good dad. I also loved Helen, Deanna's best friend. She is hilarious. She is the best friend you could have. She constantly has her friend's back. She will defend her and be there for her to the ends of the earth. And I love her relationship with her husband. Those two crack me up. They both acknowledge each other's shortcomings but don't care. They love each other anyway, no matter how old they are. They are also both Team Deanna and are both up for trashing a douchebag ex. It's almost like their new hobby, and even better, they completely have each other's back. During a restaurant scene, Helen is insulting a couple of their friends for being boring and annoying the hell out of her, and her husband Frank doesn't try to shush her, he just immediately has her back and is agreeing with her. I thought they were a great set of characters and I had fun watching them. There is a surprise cameo in this movie, which I won't mention if you haven't seen it. I didn't expect it, but I really loved it. It just added another layer of fun to the entire movie. I can see how this would not be for everyone, but I personally enjoyed many of the characters. I love the message and the story. I love most of the humor, and I thought the performances were really good. I would happily watch this again and again. Great flick, gave me a lot of laughs. Been a while since a movie gave me that many laughs. Thanks for sticking around. Feel free to do whatever you want when this video ends, because the cameras I installed in everyone's house is broke, so I can't spy on you to make sure you subbed or liked. Y'all are lucky. Until next time, bye.